All right, you got to check this video clip out because so many Americans are completely unaware that there is an Islamic invasion taking place right now of their country and are completely ignorant about what's been going on in Europe. This clip from Tommy Robinson is one of the most important that I think we should all be watching, especially if you're in America, because we need to get the word out. We cannot let America fall the same way that the UK and France and Germany and Sweden and everywhere else in Europe has. So watch this and please pass it on to someone you know in America. Check this out.
Let's start the state of things, because I think the average American may not realize. They think of the Queen, they think of fish and chimps and tea time. They think the UK is just a great place, double-decker buses. They may not realize that Islam is making massive, and I mean massive, inroads in the UK. Where are we at right now? Because I see the UK as really the front line for the fight in the struggle for Western civilization because of the Islamic advances there.
London's gone, Paris has gone, Berlin's gone. The visuals you think of, they're gone. 33% of London is English. And the warning I bring to America is I'm not going to talk to you about what I've read in a book. I'm going to talk to you about what I saw.
You're living it.
When I was born in 1982, we had one mosque in my hometown. We now have 45. I've seen the decay, I've seen the attack on freedom, but I've also seen the unholy alliance of the left, along with the police, along with the media, along with the Islamists, how they all unite together. And I've witnessed that. The way, I'd say unite together, the left surrender to them, the government surrender to them, politicians surrender to them. So they rule with fear. And fear has paralysed an entire nation, a nation of lions. And the warning I bring to America is this isn't far away now, it's here. Right. I've come and landed in Texas. I've gone to Plano. I've interviewed, I don't know if you've seen the interview I've done.
I have.
So I've sat and met journalists, I've sat and met politicians. I thought it was important to meet everyday American people. And I sat with a couple who have now fled Plano because, and she cries her eyes out. Her grandmother lived there, her mother lived there. She's been forced to leave after harassment by the imported Islamic community. I went to one of these huge compounds. Let's not call it
a mosque. This is colonization.
It's an entire community.
It is.
The roads are called Medina Villas. And I've seen this. This is the seed has been planted. You need to understand what has happened to your country over the last 8 years since Joe Biden's opened your borders.
Yeah.
You were used to Hispanic, Mexican immigration. Well, not anymore. Pakistani, Afghani, Somali, they have been brought in. It's planned. Ask yourself this as an American audience. Why have Somalians come from the hottest place in the world and found themselves in Minnesota, the coldest place in America? They haven't chose to go there. They've been put there. Your borders have been opened. Your country's been flooded. 700%. Illegal immigration went up 700% in your swing states. They don't want there to ever be a swing state. They were changing the demographic of the vote bank. Now, I've seen
to vote left wing,
and I've seen the power of it. Yeah. And you need to understand, if you look at your borders open to 10 million people, say, 10 million illegals. Well, Germany allowed 1 million in. Angela Merkel. A million Syrians.
Another traitor.
In 2017 and 2022, rapes went up 45%. 56% of the rapes last year in Germany were committed by Muslim migrants. They make up less than 10%. 90% of convictions in my country, 90% from a population of 3% Muslim males, 90% of the groups of men that rape young children are from the Islamic community, and 30% of the men convicted are called Mohammed. If you look at Sweden, what do you think of Sweden? Beautiful, blue-haired, lovely country. No, it's gone. Malmo, many cities are gone. 63% of the rapes in Sweden last year, Muslim migrants. Paris, 77% of the rapes last year, Muslim migrants. So, if you're willing to sacrifice your women and your daughters, if that's what you want to do as a nation, then you follow on. You carry on with the Democratic plan, the Democrats' plan to open your borders to influx, to put migrants and illegal aliens and prioritise them. So I know there's a big debate in a minute about ICE in this country. Yeah. If ICE are not successful, your country's gone. Yep. You end up like us. You're at a crossroads. You have a choice.
No doubt. This is a cautionary tale, and that's why you're here, Tom. You're here in America for
so man. And you're going already, that's crazy.
Quite literally, you're a journalist, number one. You're filming, you're doing interviews.
There's more, by the way. Listen to what he says next.
You're living it in the UK right now, and it's coming here. And what you just laid out about Plano, Texas, about 40 minutes from here, is absolutely stunning.
You've got 330 mosques in Texas.
Yeah.
You had 200 5 years ago.
That's right.
And to the Americans that think, it's not my problem, it's not in my city, it's coming, okay? People, when you first met me, Eric, you first met me 2009 when I first started talking about these issues. Yeah. I was hated. People didn't believe what I was saying. I come out and spoke about what we now know as grooming gangs. I was condemned. I was attacked. The entire British state threw their weight against me with weapons. So it's great. Do you know how confident I am when I come to America? Not confident, but to sit and have broadcasters, politicians that are willing to have a conversation.
Right.
The conversation we're having now, you can't have on TV in America, in Britain.
You've been jailed. You've been in solitary confinement for speaking out against this madness.
I just come out after 7 months on solitary for an 18-month prison sentence for making a documentary. A truthful fact.
This is insane. Like, Britain is so far down the drain at this point. So far down the drain that we need to protect America at all costs. Give it, like, my prediction, 5 years tops. 5 years tops before what is happening in Texas is going to be in every major, like, city or state, that you're going to have an Islamic enclave in every single state if this is not stopped within the space of just a couple years. All the lessons they've learned of how they're doing it in Europe, the UK, they're just going over to America. These imams, these preachers, these Islamic preachers are traveling around doing speaking tours in America, like right now. They are planting seeds, and those seeds will grow into vicious, thorny, jihadist weeds, and they will be everywhere, and it will destroy your country. These cities that you know and love will be unrecognizable. Already it's happened to New York. Like, if you thought San Francisco had problems with the drugs and everything else, just wait till you add jihadis in the mix. It's terrifying. Of course, I have hope, but it's terrifying.
Documentary that exposed corruption within the judiciary. The courts, a totalitarian state has weapons. And you think of freedom, democracy, I've got the Magna Carta tattooed here. Yeah. It doesn't exist, okay?
It began in the UK in many ways, in the modern sense.
Yeah. It began, but when you voted for Donald Trump, when America, so Americans, thank you, God bless the United States of America, because when you voted for Donald Trump, you thought you were voting to save America. Yeah. That was a vote to save Western civilization. No doubt. That's what it was. We have hope. There's something huge. There's been a big shift. I've been fighting an uphill battle, banging my head against a brick wall. Right now, I'm optimistic because there is a cultural revolution that started in Great Britain. Wow. Something huge is happening, a Christian revival, a spiritual awakening is happening that wasn't there. Wow. And it's happening because Elon Musk bought X and allowed a platform for discussion. But it happened because you elected Donald Trump, and a ripple from the United States has come. If you don't have fair elections, nowhere in the world does. If you lose your free speech, the world lose their free speech. No, if Texas falls, they've took the soul of America. If Islam gets a grip in Texas, like it has in every Western nation, this isn't to say most Muslims are bad. It's not to say every Muslim's bad. Some of them are wonderful people. But the value system is alien. It's the opposite of our culture.
Incompatible.
They can be lovely in other countries. I'm sorry. It's gotten to the point now, it just needs to stop. It needs to stop. I'm going to do another video talking about what's going on in Japan, the Islamic takeover of Japan. So subscribe to the show. That's my next video I'm going to film. Watch that video after this. If it's not already up, wait for it and watch it, because it's happening everywhere. It's not just Europe. It's everywhere. And you think it's not happening in places like Japan? Believe me, it's happening. Right now, the brakes need to go on 100%. Stop. Just stop so that we can push back and buy some time. You need to get these people out. Look what they've done to the Middle East. They destroyed the Middle East, which was formerly Christian or Zoroastrian or Jewish, destroyed it. Look what they're doing to the rest of Europe. Everywhere Islam goes, the same thing happens. I've said it again and again on the show. If I say it anymore, they'll probably ban like some of these videos or restrict them, because YouTube heavily restricts when I talk about Islam. But the time is now for Americans to stand up and unite on this issue. Wake up. Seriously, this is so tragic.
It's incompatible. What's happened to... I don't want to hear from right-wing commentators in America about how great Islam is or how great Qatar is, which I keep hearing, yeah? You haven't lived with them. We have. You're not surrounded by them. We are. Yeah. You don't understand what you're talking about. What's happened to the Christian population in the Middle East? What's happened to them in Syria? What's happened to them in Pakistan, in Afghanistan? The only place they've increased is in Israel.
Yeah, and it seems that the targeting of Texas, Tommy, is strategic and intentional. It's the reddest of the red. As Texas goes, so goes American. And the targeting of London as well. Not only London with a Muslim mayor, Sadiq Khan, but now New York City with a Muslim mayor and Islamo-communist Zoran Mamdani. This is all very strategic, right? I mean, look, I've observed this over the years. I've been in the enclaves throughout Europe, including in the UK. The migration happens. They establish Muslim-majority communities. They build a mega mosque, and if you build it, they will come. Then all of a sudden you have Sharia courts. It's a Muslim Brotherhood strategy. It unfolds in city after city across the West. It's all very strategic. And Tommy, can you tell us about Keir Starmer, the current Prime Minister of the UK, how he and his left-wing government are not only enabling this, they're encouraging, and it seems that they're working hand in glove with the Islamists in many ways.
And so are your politicians as well. So let's not be fooled that this is a faraway problem now. America is here, okay? And what happens is, because of how they organise themselves, and I'll talk to you about my hometown.
How good is this video, by the way? Everything's been covered.
30 miles north of London. As I said, one mosque now 45, 50% Pakistani Islamic community. The value system very different. But in 2013, I looked at the projected growth forecast for my town. By 2030, that's a 17-year period. The Bangladeshi and Pakistani community were going to increase by 70 to 77%. White and black by 1.2 to 1.4%. So the Democrats, the Labour Party, the Democrats, they sit and they look and they know what the future is, which is Keir Starmer. Now, what happens when you get such a powerful vote bank? So if they hit your swing states and they can swing, the Republicans and the Democrats will bend to them, if they can decide the vote. Now, that gives them a power. Now, what you've just seen, which I'm sorry, we're humiliated, we're embarrassed by Keir Starmer and his unwillingness to stand by our allies, America. If we're in trouble, we'd need you to stand by us. Yeah. But he didn't stand by you. He didn't allow you to choose our military bases. Reason why? He succumbed. He surrendered to the bloc Muslim vote, to the radical jihadist community. Now, if you look at, we recognise the Palestinian embassy, we recognise the Palestinian state. Which countries did? France, because they're also in trouble with the Muslim community. Yeah. Britain, because they're in trouble with the Muslim community.
Spain.
It's Spain. If we didn't have these communities, and Spain were funded by the Ayatollah.
Disgrace.
All of it's linked, But so then what happens is Great Britain ends up betraying its values, betraying its allies, because it's scared. It's basically being held hostage. Our government are being held hostage. And why are they being held hostage? We have 40,000 British Muslims on a terror watch list. We only have 70,000 armed forces.
Could be double that.
Now, these problems, just so you understand...
Wait, how many on the terror watch list
40,000 British Muslims on a terror watch list.
40,000 in the UK.
3,000 monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That costs £9 billion a year. Now,
oh, my gosh.
These attacks... and
why aren't they just shipping them back to, like, Pakistan and just being done with it and pocket the $9 billion? Why are the human rights of these terrorists who want to blow everyone up, 3,000 of them, being prioritized over the British people? Like, some of us are trying to, like, raise families here and, like, contribute to the system and live good, normal lives. Why is it that the government is pouring £9 billion, which in US dollars is what, I don't know, like $15 billion or something, into protecting these people? You know how humiliating that is? The British people go and work very hard to pay stupidly high taxes when $9 billion a year goes on 3,000 of these Muslims? Get the heck out of there. Honestly, it's like a bunch of Islamist clowns wearing white Labour voting faces are running the country. Just disgusting. What's the point of having a royal family if they can't step in and actually protect the family? I'm pro-monarchy. But what is this current monarchy doing? This is absurd. This is absurd. That's not the money spent on all the other, like, 40,000 plus, right? It's horrible. It's horrible what's going on, and it's humiliating. And now the Islamists have the country hostage because the moment the government might say something against the Palestinian terrorists or anything else, they're out on the streets, they're committing terror attacks, it's costing more money. Well done. You've imported a group of people, this minority at the moment, who is captivated and has the country hostage. The Muslim population at the moment is only 6%, and look what they're able to do. They've destroyed Great Britain with just 6% of a Muslim population. And when to say, oh, well, not all of them are hateful. Okay, well, that's even worse. That means, okay, let's say 1% of the country are actually taking Islam seriously. That means just 1% of the Muslims in the country are actually taking it seriously and actually influential, have destroyed the country. Just wait until it's 25%. Like, I could watch the rest of this video with you, but honestly, this is tragic. This is so tragic, and America needs to wake up ASAP. I'll play a little bit more, and then we'll wrap up the video.
And I've
interviewed some of them, by the way.
You need to understand the scale of the problem. I focus with the rape of a generation of Britain's daughters, which was facilitated and accommodated by religious leaders. You know, like in Minnesota, the fraud. Yeah. You know how they've all turned a blind eye?
Yeah.
And been involved in it probably because the money circles back to the Democrats. But they've allowed this to happen because it benefits them, and they've got a vote bank which are going to keep them in power. Yeah. They know they can click their fingers, there's 100,000 votes. None of them are going for Republicans. So they don't care. They'll let them get away with that. Yeah. Now, they allowed them to rape a generation of Britain's daughters. Now,
the grooming gangs, not just a scandal,
when we first met,
an epidemic.
When we first met...
Unpack that for us. People may not know this is a historic scandal of epic proportions.
This is going to sound unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right, let's watch
When we
this.
first met, it's the issue that I was talking about. I was talking about it because my cousin was a victim of these gangs. She was 14 years old. She woke up naked, being raped by lots of Muslim men with big beards who were raping her. She was prostituted. They used drugs on her. And I remember the family calling the police. The police done nothing. Now, again, what you have to understand is we formed an organisation in 2009 of young English men, and we hit the streets in towns and cities about this issue. We made them deal with it because for 30 to 40 years, what we now know is that they conspired, government, police, religious leaders, they all conspired to hide this crime, to allow the rape of a generation of daughters. Now, I've done a 5-part series as a journalist, a documentary series called The Rape of Britain. I focused on a town called Telford. You can watch this series on trfilms.co.uk. This fabulous journalism, fabulous investigative journalism.
It is.
But I focused on Telford because Telford has a 1.7% Muslim population, similar to the population in Texas. Mm-hmm. So it has a 1.7% Muslim population. So I took the population, I spent 18 months in that town, and I spent time with survivors. Police investigation identified 1,000 victims. 5 of them have been murdered, set on fire, burned alive, raped, killed, yeah? 5
young girls.
5 children. Now, so I met the families of these children, and I met the girls that survived these attacks. And I met 12 or 18 girls, and I sat them down for 3 hours or 4 hours, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And I built a database and a police-style investigation in this city with my team. And by the end of my investigation, I knew every family, I knew where they lived, I knew where they worked. We tracked their cars, we went into their businesses, we had girls in their cars videoing them. So we done an investigation in them. Now, the police identified 1,000 victims, and they identified 200 men that were involved in the rapes. So we know 200 were involved in the rapes. My investigation identified 264, yeah? So we got 260.
And these are Muslim men.
These are Muslim men. Do you know
raping English girls.
Kidnapping, torturing and raping in one small town. Now, do you know how many Muslim men are in that town over the age of 16 and under the age of 70? 1,000. So the police identified 20% of the population that were raping our kids. And we identified 26%, and an inquiry by a law firm identified over 30%. Now, this is in one small town. Have you heard of Rotherham?
Yes.
Rotherham's the other town that most people have heard of around the world.
Yes.
Rotherham has a 3.7% Muslim population. There's none there. When I say there's none there, my town's got 50%. Many towns in the UK have got 30, 40, 50%. Our capitals, our cities, our major infrastructure cities, they're gone. They have taken over. They're having on average 5 children on average, 4.8. We're having 1.2. Never has a cultural reverse from this low birth rate with a dominant force coming in. Now, migration is being flooded in. Christianity has come under attack. Identities come under attack. Men have come under attack. This is a total organised attack.
Right, straight white men are evil. That's the thing. You've destroyed the strength of the country.
Globalists that despise Christianity. Now, the problem is, Americans, you're the only place in the globe with free speech.
Yeah.
You have to value it because we wish we had it.
Yes.
And your guns, value them because you can stop the tyranny that we have faced.
Yes.
And they want to take the two. They want to take free speech. In fact, free speech is the enemy of them.
Of the left, no doubt.
My politicians, the European Union.
Yeah. By the way, the free speech destroys Islam. There's another video I'm filming today, which is about how Islam at the moment is facing a major crisis because Muslims are suddenly gaining access to like the internet in some of these countries. And they're listening to these debates, and it's just annihilating Islam. It's so easy to destroy Islam. It's the most fake religion in the world. And so they want to stop free speech. They want to stop people criticizing Islam, Muhammad, or whatever, because it just destroys Islam. And so that's why they're bringing in these Islamophobia laws, is to protect Islam and Muslims from any ideas or criticism that would actually make them see the error of their ways.
It's their enemy. So in this police investigation, where we identified 20% of the men in the small town of Telford, we've done a 5-part series. We found police that were working with them, government that were working with them. But we raised these issues when I first spoke to you in 2009. They hated me. The full weight of the British state come for me. They imprisoned me, they attacked me, they used lawfare against me continuously because they wanted to hide this. Why did they want to hide it?
They fear you.
They feared the truth because if the truth comes out...
Because you're a truth teller.
If the truth comes out, the country will look at the government. It's their policy failures.
Yeah, they'd be on the chopping block.
The man who went on a terrorist attack last week in Texas, it's the failure of the government to protect American citizens. Do you know your Donald Trump ban in 2016?
Yeah.
The ban he put in, which they called a Muslim ban, which the world went mad at him about. Well, if we had that ban in the UK, then 26 children would be alive right now because they were blown up in an Ariana Grande concert by a terrorist.
2017, Manchester.
His father was a terrorist. He comes to our country, allowed in. He's allowed to go to Libya, a terrorist hotspot, get weapons training, bomb training, and come back. 280 European citizens were murdered by terrorists who would not have been able to murder them if we simply had the ban that Donald Trump brought in.
Yeah.
Now,
that the European Union and the United Nations have pushed into Europe. They're basically running the countries now through these like policies that no one voted for, through these politicians and these diplomats that no one knows the face of, that are hidden in the bureaucracy of the major giant United Nations, heavily funded by everyone's tax money, by the way, to the tune of like tens of billions of dollars a year, not hundreds of billions probably. No one really knows how much the UN absorbs from everyone. And then they are just governing everything. And the UN is now overtaken by Islamo-communists as well, because the Chinese government have just bribed the heck out of everyone at the higher ends of things. And the Islamic countries have formed a bloc which like just sway all the votes of the United Nations. So you have Islamo-communism running Europe at the moment. And then any time that Donald Trump says that, hey, we're not going to go along with whatever the UN says, everyone's like outraged that how dare he say anything about the precious UN? Don't you know that they are practically like, God's government on earth? That's the way people view them as. All right. What about human rights though? Human rights though. No, like just don't be silly. Don't be so easily fooled by people who are dangling some pretty words in front of you. This is absurd. All right, we're just going to watch a little bit more, and then we'll wrap up the video because by this point we might as well watch the whole thing.
Well, Donald Trump is protecting you. I know many Americans don't realise it. I know you don't get it, but we wish we had someone protecting us. Do you know the only person protecting our speech now? The only place protecting our speech. J.D. Vance, Rubio, Trump. Yeah. You've given us hope. We have hope, and there's a resistance. There's a growing. The public are awake. It's took a long time, and it's sad that these events had to happen. You had to have the election in 2020 where Joe Biden was elected. The country needed to see a puppet government in action. You needed to see what they were doing with your borders because it's been happening for a long time. You haven't had fair elections. You haven't had free. You think you've got your constitution, but really, when big tech was controlled in such a way by government interfering with private business to control the narrative and silence certain voices, that's not free speech. And it's not free speech when it has consequence. And we have consequence in the UK. Where 12,000 people last year were arrested for what they said on social media.
The UK is the worst in the world when it comes to that.
Well, Russia had 800 and we keep getting told how bad Russia is.
For quote-unquote offensive posts on social media. Meanwhile, Muslim gangs are raping little girls and they're walking free half the time.
They're allowed to rape little girls. They were allowed. Literally, they sacrificed our daughters.
Because the police don't want to be called Islamophobic.
Again, not my opinion. Government studies, they come out in 2014. We told everyone about it. Now, all of the videos I made back then in your time when we first met, they've aged very well because people can see I told the truth. And they can see what we face for telling the truth. Some of these crimes, now this is not about sexual gratification. This is not about men that want to have sex with children.
This is jihad.
It's about the destruction of a generation of England's daughters. Some of these girls, one girl, they took a hot iron rod and they heated up the letter M and scolded her bum because she was the property of Mohammed. Another girl, they nailed her tongue to a table. They tortured these children. They took them out to the woods, poured petrol over them, lit lighters, and terrified them till they urinated. They urinated in their faces of these girls. This was about taking the one thing we hold dearest. Now, if you think, as Americans, this isn't happening here, you're crazy. Now, this is happening
to America. All of this is coming to America. In Holland,
it's the Moroccans, and they call it Loverboy. In India, it's called Love Jihad. In the UK, it's called Grooming. What we're talking about is rape jihad. And the Sikhs aren't doing it. The Hindus aren't doing it. The Jews aren't doing it. No one else is doing it in this way. You know, one of these cases had 11 cousins. Another case had a father and son raping kids together. Another case had a brother and brother-in-law. 3 brothers, 4 brothers, 5 brothers. We've never seen this in the West. It is that accepted. It's that fair game. And it's exactly what Boko Haram done with the Nigerian girls. It's exactly what ISIS done with the Yazidi girls. But it's not happening in Boko Haram in Nigeria. It's not happening in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's happening in British cities. Every British city that has an Islamic community. And believe me, it's happening here.
It's happening everywhere, and nothing is new under the sun when it comes to Islam for the last 1,400 years. Islamists have been doing exactly the same thing the entire time Islam has existed, from day one. They were, first of all, destroying like 30,000 churches in the space of a few years across, Syria and Egypt, like all the Christian communities there, destroyed, all those churches demolished, like they're setting fire to them in Europe today. They were, ripping out the intestines of little boys and whipping them with it. They were gang raping nuns who were on pilgrimage to Jerusalem, these Islamists. Nothing is new. They were beheading the priests, the bishops, setting fire to everything, you name it. Like the church has preserved holy relics from the time of Christ. And many of these have been lost thanks to the Muslims who set fire to things and all this kind of stuff. Like, it destroys everything and leaves a wasteland behind. I say this like 100 times on the show. I don't get why Islamists are so keen to take over places when all that happens is that those places get worse. The Islamic world sucks. Those countries suck. No one likes living there. Nothing works. The governments are terrible. No one has freedom of expression or freedom of speech. Nothing. Like, these are terrible places that they're not productive, right? They don't produce anything. They can't run anything. Like, all these places are terrible now. They rocked up in the UK. Now look at them. They're running around like gang members in this like Nike tracksuits with their balaclavas on, running around. They've got machetes. They're gang raping young girls, setting fire to stuff, Sharia courts, child marriage, inbreeding. Tell me one good thing, one good thing that comes from Islamic migration into the West. And please don't tell me kebabs or something like that. Don't be utterly absurd and gluttonous to think that you want to sacrifice your entire country, your entire inheritance, all your children, everything you hold dear for a kebab. This is sick. This is a sickness. This is a sickness. Anyone says that we need to have mass migration from the Islamic world because of like a kebab takeaway is not right in the head. Not right in the head. I'm going to end the video here. I'll link the full video down below in the description. Please share this on with everyone and anyone you know. Post on Facebook, send it on WhatsApp, put it in your Instagram stories, send it to your friends and family, not only in America, but everywhere. Canada, New Zealand, Australia. This is coming for every country. They are not going to stop unless we put a stop to it. And they've gained so much ground because we've allowed them to gain so much ground. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And please do subscribe to the show. There are plenty more videos coming your way. If you are a Muslim and you happen to be watching this, know that I love you. And I make these videos because I also want to help you guys as well. You guys have been deceived by this demonic ideology that is ruining your lives, the lives of the people in these countries that you go to. It's an ideology that just destroys. It's like communism. You need to understand that the reason why I make these videos is also to help you as well. Anyway, give this video a thumbs up, hype it, comment down below. Like I said, share it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll speak to you in the next one. God bless.